Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, a couple days ago, the Critical Drinker uploaded a video that said the message is dead and Snow White killed it. But I think that is a very untrue statement, and it underestimates just how stupid and pathetic people in Hollywood are. Because, lo and behold, after the failure of the MCU, after the failure of Snow White, after all of these companies have lost billions of dollars in potential revenue, and then actually, in principle, there are still people that for the promotion of the Fantastic Four, which already has so much against it, there are people that don't like the aesthetics of it, they don't like the way that the thing looks, there are many things that are working against this, and let's just face it, there is a curse around the Fantastic Four franchise. So, you would think that they would be putting their best foot forward, that they would be putting every sort of effort into not only presenting the movie in the best way possible, but that the actors would not be popping off saying insufferable, woke, retarded garbage. But that's not the case. So Joseph Quinn, who is going to be playing the Human Torch in the upcoming Fantastic Four, addresses his portrayal of the Human Torch and says that it will differ from Chris Evans's version. He was branded as this womanizing, devil-may-care guy. But is that sexy these days? I don't think so. This version of Johnny is less callous with other people's feelings. I have never read a statement that has made me want to consume a bit of media less. So he's going to be a woke, toned down, overly sensitive, pussified version of a character that people like. Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Oh yeah, that's just going to pack him in, right? And the thing that's absolutely mind-blowing about this is Marvel Rivals is doing the heavy lifting. It is the Atlas of the Marvel franchise right now. It is holding up this entire monolith on its back right now, as every other venture of Marvel's is trying to make the franchise irrelevant, trying to kill it off. Marvel Rivals is like goddamn Hercules. It's unbelievable that this one franchise... And guess what? The Human Torch in Marvel Rivals is sarcastic. He likes the women. He's snarky. He likes the women. He's a little bit crass, and people love it. People like his character. He's got cool powers. He likes sexy women, and he's a bit of a release for the audience. But you come out and you say, no, we're not going to do any of that. We're going to have him more in line with the sort of emasculated filth that you hate. Oh my God, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Just genius. Oh, and by the way, this isn't the only comment that we have to talk about. We have to talk about Sue Storm. Vanessa Kirby confirms Fantastic Four, First Steps, explores gender politics with Sue Storm. Oh, I mean, masterstroke. And by masterstroke, I mean the people that are in charge of this must be having a stroke. How on earth are people this stupid? This goes beyond anything that I can explain. Like, it would be as though you watched 1,000 other people burn their hand on a stove, like put their hand palm, fingers out, searing stove, touch it. You watched 1,000 people do it, and you said, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. I am aghast. I am agog. I am aghast. What the hell are they doing? Critical Drinker is like, well, financially and reputation-wise, this doesn't make sense. It seems like they're going to get the picture. That was his statement, and that makes sense. Okay, you've ruined an IP, you've lost hundreds of millions of dollars, you've alienated people. Rachel Zegler's career may never recover from this. I'm not saying that it should, but it probably won't. And yet you have people that are promoting another movie within this company that are talking about gender politics and emasculating male characters. All the while, Marvel Rivals is generating actual buzz and getting people excited. Because they're doing the things that the audience wants. Crazy. You have a franchise that is doing two different things, one of which is working, one of them is not, and yet they continue to do both of them. They continue to add on the cancerous, woke, insufferable elements that people have rejected in their totality. But you also, at the other side, have Marvel Rivals, which has jiggle physics in the thighs, the butt, and the tits. That was a whole conversation about Sue Storm and Emma Frost in Marvel Rivals, that they've got jiggle physics in all these different places, and people love it. This is a no-brainer. If anyone talks about gender politics or talks about us changing or emasculating or talking about the character being a womanizer and we need to make it for a modern audience, that person should be fired, and publicly so, and recast. Doesn't matter how much money it takes, doesn't matter how much effort it takes, because in the end, this is going to do real world damage to your brand and your movie that needed to work. I don't understand this. I'm not being dramatic or hyperbolic, but you look at these companies and it's like none of these people care. Ubisoft, they needed Assassin's Creed Shadows to be a 10 out of 10. They needed it to just be an absolute smash hit. Was it a smash hit? No. And it seemed like they were doing everything to make sure that it wasn't. It's astonishing that these companies and these people are 1 foot out the door into the frigid waters of unemployment, and they still don't act with any sort of urgency. They'll still go out there and make asinine, retarded, leftist, garbage tier statements. I'm not being hyperbolic. You know this sort of statement is going to resonate poorly. Why would you make it? Like, if you have something to say about the character, you make it after the movie comes out. Because you have an obligation based on the contract you sign not to deliberately try to hurt the work. But it seems like these actors, they're so mentally ill and they're so narcissistic and they're so up their own ass that they don't understand that there are ramifications for what they say. Oh, I have freedom of speech. No, you don't. You don't have freedom of speech. You have the freedom to shut your mouth. You signed a contract. You're working on a project. While you're there, you're a reflection of the brand, the character, and the company. If you decide to go out there and film yourself ejaculating on top of a car, guess what? The brand may not have anything to do with it. The character may not have anything to do with it. But people are going to associate you with the brand because they see you on these red carpet things. They see you giving interviews. They associate you with the character and the brand. So you hurt a multi-billion-dollar company, a multi-billion-dollar franchise. You alienate fans. You hurt the bottom line. You lose everyone less money. You basically guarantee that the people doing the down-to-earth work, the working man, that they're not going to get, a sequel that they get to work on with lighting and all that other stuff. So that's money out of their pocket. I'm sure they'll go on to do other movies. But I imagine that working on these sets for Marvel is probably far more lucrative than some of these other smaller budget movies. So, in every way, this is a negative. Other than you get the virtue signal. You get to tell everyone what a great person you are. And guess what? I think you're a retard. A lot of people are going to think you're a retard. Some of the people at your, champagne socialist clubs may go, oh, you told those troglodyte viewers, those comic book fans, you told them what for. You said, oh, he's problematic. We have a new Human Torch, and he's very sensitive, and he cares about people's feelings. He's empathetic. He's not crass. In fact, he respects all women. In fact, he would never say a comment about a woman's appearance. In fact, he's gay. It's such an astonishing lack of awareness. And so I wanted to make this video because it's so abundantly clear that Hollywood is never going to learn this lesson. They're never going to get it. They're going to go down with the ship. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Hollywood celebrities used to be idolized. People used to go to see movies to see certain celebrities, to see certain characters. Well, you have violated the corpse of some of the most nostalgic IPs in history. You have tainted these projects to the point where people can't even look at them anymore because they get a sick feeling in their stomach. All of the characters that were built up with love and care in the past have been absolutely desecrated and vandalized. And then, when you try to resuscitate their corpse to make a couple bucks, you bring on the absolute scum of the earth, the most degenerate, low IQ, bottom-feeding trash. These people in Hollywood to try to virtue signal, and the Human Torch is going to be modern, and he's going to be a sensitive man, a feminine man. He's going to be more in tune with his feelings. And you do that, and then you further damage the brand, and then you blame the audience that you're trying to sell your product to, and it does nothing, and then you whine and bitch and complain as everything around you burns down, metaphorically speaking. It's like, this is the most basic stuff. And honestly, you're glad I don't work in Hollywood, because this would be a come to Jesus meeting. This would be something that somebody would probably record and get me in trouble, because it would be biblical. It would be wrath, fire and brimstone. Because what do you mean, as we're fighting for our lives here to save this brand, to try to make Marvel more interesting, what do you mean you're coming out there with this sort of rhetoric that is obviously despised? What do you mean the Human Torch is not going to be like what fans remember? What do you mean that the Fantastic Four First Steps explores gender politics? What do you mean by that? In any regard, gender politics shouldn't even be mentioned. Even if in some off chance that this is a misconception. She didn't actually mean this. She didn't actually say this. How could it possibly be misconstrued? How could you possibly say anything having to do with Sue Storm that had to do with left-wing identity politics? Every word out of your mouth should be comic book, accurate, faithful, and then use adjectives that make it seem like, it's going to be action-packed, it's going to be fun. we're focusing on the characters and the depth, but it seems like at every step, there's some baffling, inexcusable blunder. And I'm just sitting here going, what the hell? Seriously, what the hell? How do you do this? Over and over. It's nuts. Over and over you do this. And then you're going to cast Pedro Pascal, who people are tired of and don't want anymore, as the lead in the movie. Okay, that's another thing against it. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.